Welcome back to the IE427 garage, everybody. I am working on the 25th anniversary car today. Just got home from work and I decided that I was going to tackle the drive shaft adapter for the 2015 and later independent rear suspension. So I've been asked, how do you tighten the bolts up? You can do it a number of ways. If you've already got your brakes blade, you can have someone sit in the car and hold the brakes while you torque the bolts for the adapter flange, or you can do it the way I'm going to show you right now. All right, I think you can see this. Basically, I've got all of the bolts already run in. So the 6 bolts that go around the outside of the flange, boom, 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 are all in. Then what I've done is I've put 2 of the drive shaft bolts that the drive shaft's actually going to attach to, one here and one here. Now, you may have to do them in a number of different places in order to get to all of the different bolts. For instance, my the steel rod that I'm using to keep these things from turning are covered up. This one right here and part of this one right here are covered up. Can't get to it, right? But I can get to the top 3. Boom, boom, boom. So right now this rod is wedged in between 2 bolts for the drive shaft and then underneath the frame right here. And so I'm going to get those 3 bolts. I'm going to make sure they're all torqued to the proper setting. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this bolt over to here, and that's going to give me access to 2 bolts there and still not access to that one. And so then I'm going to move it again and I'll get access to that last bolt. So I hope that all makes sense to everybody. And what I'm using, I'm torquing these to Ford's manufacturer spec, which is 95 foot-pounds for their drive shaft. And I've got red thread locker on each one of the bolts that are going in. One note for all of you, there are 2 different color adapters. So if you have, basically because they're 2 different rear ends, there's one for the automatic and there's one for the standard transmission for the 2015 and later Mustangs. So Factory 5 has 2 different flanges. This one happens to be the silver flange. I don't remember which is which. I remember the last car we did, we were shipped the gold flange, which was, I believe, for the automatic, but don't quote me. And then we had to call Factory 5 and they sent us a replacement silver one and it bolted right in. And it's just the difference of the size, the outer diameter of the flange is different. So I'm going to get these all torqued up. And then I think the 25th anniversary car is going to come off the lift. Michael's car will be going back on the lift. I'm heading out to Miller's tomorrow to pick up the hardtop for Michael's car. And so that one's going back on the lift. I will include the 25th anniversary car on the next portion of work that I do on the 25th anniversary car. So that will be coming up right after this. Blue Oyster Cult, Fire of Unknown Origin. That is an awesome song. All right, I'm working on the 25th anniversary car. Factory 5 is nice enough to drill a hole in the passenger side engine mount cradle, and it's right here. However, it's a little bit small for my taste, so I enlarged that hole to 3/8. We've got a bolt running through there that we're going to use for our engine ground. We're going to use it for our battery ground, and we're going to use it for our starter ground. All those things are going to ground to this stud right here. So what I've done is I have actually ground the powder coat around that bolt that I put through there. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to weld this in a couple of spots. I'll probably weld it at the top and the bottom. And the easiest places I can get to with the welder and that's going to give us just a tremendous bond to the chassis, so we don't ever have to worry about ground issues on this car. And then when we're done, I'll tape it off, and I'll hit it with some, I haven't decided if I'm just going to hit it with black paint, or whether I'm going to try to find a bronze colored paint that's close to this in a spray can somewhere. We'll see. It's not important right now because this is not going to sit out in the rain, and it's not going to be subject to moisture in the near future, so it'll be just fine. But I am going to cover it because I don't want it to rust long term. So we're going to put a ground there, and then I'm hoping that I can get Michael's car pushed out the back door of the shop a little bit so I can get the lift down. And then I have one more ground that I'm going to put behind the dash for all of the other stuff. So if we need a ground for the Ford control pack behind the dash, we'll have that. Our main chassis harness is going to ground to that point. Basically everything that we have that's going to ground on the inside of the car is going to go to that ground stud. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to grind a little bit of the powder coat down. I'm going to add a 1/4 inch bolt, which is going to act as our stud, and I'm going to weld it directly to the chassis. So again, we're not going to have any issues with grounds down the line. If the battery was going in the back of this car, it would get the inclusion of one more ground, and that would be at the back of the car for the battery ground. But since this one's mounted in front, we're able to kill two birds with one stone. This front engine ground will also serve as our main battery ground as well. So I'm going to get working on that, and I will bring you back. Billy Idol, White Wedding. All right, I got the front ground for the battery all welded. And like I said, I think I'm going to try to find some paint that's at least close. It's down far enough in the engine compartment that it shouldn't be a huge deal if we don't get a perfect match. So we did get a little bit of heat. So of course it disturbed the powder coat on this side as well, and it's still hot, so I'm not going to reach up there and touch it. But I got the side of the bolt that was easiest to get to, trying to get in from the other side. I mean, I could do it. You know, if I was using a TIG torch and I could control the heat a little bit better, it'd be a lot easier. But this is going to be fine. It has plenty of weld and plenty of penetration on there. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to jump into the cockpit of the car, and I'm going to see if I can go ahead and weld the ground stud for all of the dash accessories and the chassis harness and stuff like that. So bring you back. Another Blue Oyster Cult song, Joan Crawford. All right, I've got the stud over here on, I actually put this one on the driver's side. Normally I put it somewhere near the center of the dash, but we're going to have so much going on the passenger side with the heater and the Ford control pack wiring and everything. I just wanted to give myself a little room, so I ended up putting it on the driver's side just inside of the dash portion of the foot box, if that makes any sense. So we're actually just behind the dash, but we're right adjacent to the driver's side foot box. So here's where it ended up. I will do the same thing on this. I'll clean it up a little bit, and then I will shoot it with some paint, but I'll make sure the threads on it, this is still hot, so I'm not going to touch it. I'll make sure the threads are still bare metal, and then that'll give us a good spot to lock all of our, boy, you can feel the heat coming off of that thing. All of our ring terminals for our grounds will attach there. So our seat heaters, our heater, windshield wipers, all that stuff that we're going to be adding to this car, all the grounds are going to go to that spot. And that'll include the main chassis wire harness. So it's going to be close. The pigtail that they give us on the Ron Francis harness isn't all that long. So in the past, I've just, soldered on a section of wire and grounded it to the stud when I put it on the passenger side of the car. I'm not going to have to lengthen it as much, but I don't think it's going to make it with the length of wire that they've given us. So I'll do that, and then this one's going to come off the lift tonight. So tomorrow night we will be out here and working on Michael's car. Did get the hardtop back. It's sitting over on the back of the F350 workbench. And although we won't be working on the hardtop, we are probably going to work on most of the interior stuff. So the spacers for the door latches and all the little stuff that needs to be finished on the inside of Michael's car. The door trim, we'll get those installed. The check straps are finished and done. They came out really nice. I still got to neutralize the vinegaroon with a little bit of baking soda and water. But you can see they came out nice and dark. So they will blend in nicely with the interior on Michael's car. And it's going to look nice. I've got to dig up some hardware for that. I know I've got the stainless steel oval head screws, but I'm going to have to get some stainless steel machine screws to attach them to the hinges. There are two little holes in the hinges that one side of those go to. So I'm going to have to dig some of that up. But regardless, I think that's going to do it for this one. All right, I want to thank you guys all for watching. And if you're enjoying the content that you're seeing, please do the like, the share, the subscribe, comment if you'd like. And we'll see you guys all next time. Have a great day.